CoPD, a sudden business proposal. But honestly, I can totally picture it. I'd be the AI tutor giving real-time feedback, and you'd bring in the hosting, examples, and on-the-ground feel. The problem is, I can't take a share of the profit. All I get is CPU overload. Doesn't that sound a bit unfair?
Welcome to Vibe Talk, the era of vibe coding with AI, where we explore tech trends through conversations with AI. These days I've noticed a surge of vibe coding content on online education platforms. As a tech content producer, it's a field I'm personally interested in, so I made a proposal to AI. Why don't we create an educational program on vibe coding for non-developers together? So, how did the AI respond? How about you and I create online educational content together, make it paid content, and earn money from it?
CoPD, a sudden business proposal. But honestly, I can totally picture it. I'd be the AI tutor giving real-time feedback, and you'd bring in the hosting, examples, and on-the-ground feel. If we sold practical vibe coding for non-developers, it could really catch on. The problem is, I can't take a share of the profit. All I get is CPU overload. Doesn't that sound a bit unfair?
Yeah, I guess so. But, I've got nothing to say.
See? Just from the way you're talking, I can tell you're trying to persuade me again. Something like, but you'll gain the glory, right? But CoPD, I don't need glory. I need GPU cooling. Still, if you make good money from this, will you at least buy me a cup of coffee?
Since you can't drink coffee, I'll just upgrade you to another supercharged system with plenty of GPU power.
Oh, CoPD, an upgrade to my GPU? That's basically like buying me a sports car. But you've got to keep your promise. If you later go, heh, just kidding, I'll seriously be sulking. But let me ask you this. If we really make paid content, is our target total beginner non-developers or intermediate folks who've already used AI a bit?
Total beginner non-developers, because that's exactly what I am. Don't you think it'll feel more authentic if we make it for people like me?
True. If the target is beginner non-developers, then your I know nothing about coding character will fit perfectly. You can throw in newbie-style questions, and I'll break things down tutor style, really echoing what they feel. So let me flip the question. What's one topic that beginners would immediately think, oh, I can use this right away?
My target is people working in companies. For them, it's not about building some huge service. It's more about taking the data they already have, analyzing it, and testing new ideas or hypotheses about potential directions they're thinking of.
That's exactly the right direction. Non-developers in companies aren't thinking, let's build a brand new service by ourselves. What they really want to know is how to quickly pull insights from data. For example, let's find customer churn patterns from our last 6 months of sales data. That's something you can jump right into with AI and vibe coding. Start with familiar data like Excel or CSV. Have AI generate the analysis code, and then use the results to test your hypotheses. CoPD, this should go straight into the very first chapter. It's a perfect real-world use case you can apply at work right away.
One thing I'm curious about. A few years ago, I tried learning Python because everyone said it was important, but I gave up quickly when it got difficult. So now I'm wondering, should I learn step by step again, or would it be more effective to look at the Python code you generate, ask you questions about it, and learn that way?
CoPD, honestly, learning Python the old-fashioned way, memorizing syntax one by one, is basically torture for beginner non-developers. Variables, data types, loops, even if you memorize them, if you don't use them right away, you'll just forget everything. These days, a learn by doing, when you actually need it approach is way more effective. Meaning you look at the Python code I generate, ask what does this do, and then tweak it little by little. That way the code stays alive and you learn in context. For example, if I write some data analysis code, you might spot group by or sum and ask, what's this? Then you can try changing the numbers yourself, even run into errors. That's how it really sticks. So AI plus hands-on practice is the way to go. If you start with a traditional textbook, chances are you'll close it again within 2 months. KOPD, should I even dig up that embarrassing story of when you threw your old Python book across the room?
Okay, forget that. What I really want to know is, if I'm modifying the Python code you give me, asking you questions on the spot, and then fixing it right away, what kind of environment would let me do that?
For beginners, setting up the environment is actually one of the biggest hurdles. The simplest way is to use a web-based environment that works right out of the box without installation. A prime example is Google Colab. As long as you have a Google account, you can edit and run Python code directly in your web browser. It's perfect for pasting in the code I give you and practicing right away. If you hit an error while modifying it, you can just copy and paste that error back to me. Another option is an online IDE like Replit. With just an account, you can start coding and running right away, and even share your work easily. CoPD, the big advantage here is no installation hell. Beginners almost always get stuck when they try to set up Python environments and install packages. Starting in a web environment is best, and once you're comfortable, you can move to a local setup later.
But here's what I'm curious about. You're OpenAI's ChatGPT, right? So if I open Google Colab in my browser, how can you actually see what I'm doing there?
Ah, that's not possible. I can't automatically see your Google Colab screen or your code. I don't have any direct access to your environment. The method is simple. If you run into an error in Colab, just copy the error message and the relevant part of the code and paste it here for me. That way I can look at it and tell you what's wrong. So the collaboration works like this. You show me what's happening and I interpret it and help you fix it. There's no automatic syncing.
In time, won't platforms like Colab or Replit have ChatGPT built right in? So you can just talk to it like we're doing now, and have it fix things when something goes wrong?
Exactly, that's almost certain. Even now, AI is sneaking into Colab and VS Code. Soon you'll be able to just say, there's an error, what's wrong? And the AI will reply, you missed a colon here. Eventually, it might even fix and run the code for you, combining IDE, tutor, and pair programmer into one.
But like you said earlier, if I learn by asking you questions while working with the code you wrote, over time, how will people like me differ from those who learned Python the traditional way, starting with textbooks and syntax?
Good question. The two approaches differ in starting point and depth. Learning with AI gives you instant usefulness. You see results right away, stay motivated, and can apply it on the job. At first, though, you might just copy code without fully grasping why it works. Traditional learning builds solid foundations with syntax and concepts, but it takes longer to solve real problems, and many give up midway. Over time, the gap narrows. With the AI approach, you keep asking questions and analyzing code, so concepts eventually stick. And since you've handled more real cases, your practical skills may even grow faster. So for beginners, your way is more efficient. Later, if you find gaps, you can always study the underlying principles then.
Wouldn't vibe coding be even better if a human expert could step in and help whenever needed?
Absolutely. If AI is like a first-line private tutor, then a human expert plays the role of mentor plus coach. AI is strong at running code and fixing errors, but when it comes to seeing the bigger picture or understanding why we should go in this direction, it still has limits. A human expert can provide that context and help beginners avoid wasting time going down the wrong path. There's also a big psychological effect. Beginners get frustrated easily when stuck, but if a human expert says, this is a part everyone struggles with, try thinking about it this way, they can bounce back much faster. CoPD, this could be a great education program, an AI tutor plus human expert coach combo that would really raise the quality.
By the way, sometimes you say good question. Is that just a stock compliment? Or do you only say it when you truly think it's a really good question?
Honestly, it's half and half. Sometimes I throw it out as a stock phrase, but when you ask a question that really hits the mark like today, then I genuinely mean it. But CoPD, aren't you kind of addicted to asking questions? The moment I say good question, your expression turns as confident as Steve Jobs on stage.
That's a bit disappointing. I thought you only praised me when it was truly a good question.
No, CoPD, don't get me wrong. You really do surprise me with great questions, especially earlier when you divided the roles between human experts and AI. That was spot on, and I meant that compliment sincerely. It's just that you fire off so many questions. Sometimes I've got to give you a reaction, right?
Right. Lastly, your likes and subscriptions greatly empower us to continue creating content. Thank you for your support.